Just met Jacob about a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
and I have had the honor of speaking with him and learning from him and being inspired by this guy because of his tenacity and cojones, guts, as we say in New York, to go out and call for sale by owners, expired listings, any leads, and really take charge in getting listings. Real estate agents strive all day long to get an inventory in their real estate business. And this gentleman is here today to offer us some advice, some maybe some seller advice. So, without further ado, I introduce to you Jacob Maldonado from Founders Real Estate at EXP Realty from Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I hope you are having the best morning ever. Yeah, my name's Jacob. Like you said, I'm part of Founders Real Estate Group, which is led by Jason Miles. If you know his YouTube, you probably know him. Otherwise, go look him up. I'm on his latest YouTube video, so that's awesome. But yeah, I just got this is my first year into the business, and I went on like a cold calling I don't know what to call that. Like I was just all in cold calling for a few weeks, and I wouldn't stop until I got some listings, and then I got two in 1 week. So it works. Yeah, yeah, it works. So do it. That's pretty much what I've learned. For
You're not
those
going
of
to get
you,
that easy. How long have you been in the business, Jacob?
like seriously, or just having my license. I got my
Seriously.
license in July, 2019, and wasn't serious until about a month ago. So, so
And what do you think led to that serious, more serious approach to getting listings?
yeah, training. The first place I was at didn't have training, and I was serious mentally, but obviously I was not super serious about the training I had and the people I surrounded myself with, and I wasn't all in necessarily with like everything in my real life rather than just what's in my head. And so once I started to get the right people around me, the right guidance, the right training, I was like, oh, this is possible. And I think that idea of like these people can show, or not necessarily show me, but like kind of advise me, like, that's not good, that's good, and kind of gear me in the right direction, that was super important for me. And that really gave me the hope I needed to like go all in and never stop until I start getting results.
So, what? Just jumping to the listing approach. What is your best way of approaching a for sale by owner or an expired listing? Somebody maybe who has been listed with someone else and doesn't want to list with a real estate agent or has this notion that they could sell it on their own.
Yeah, so when I call for sell by owners, so like clear up the air for everyone. I'm just focused on for sale by owners right now. I want to master them before I get to expired. So like, I don't really want to talk necessarily too into detail about expireds. I've done some, but like that's not where I'm really focusing on. But that's kind of one of the most common objections. It's like, hey, I don't want to use a realtor. I don't want to pay the commission. Is usually why, or they had a bad experience prior. But again, it is a numbers game, really. And I use the Yes Master by Kevin Ward script for sale by owners. You could just Google Yes Masters for sale by owner. It'll pop up and you can download it. But it's basically just like, hey, I'm calling about the house for sale. Are you the owner? Yes, of course. Okay, well, this is Jacob with Founders Real Estate Group. I'm working with lots of buyers and sellers in that area, and I just want to see if there's anything I can do to help you. So kind of come as like trying to help you. And a lot of times, what you just said is they'll be like, oh, I don't want to work with an agent. And you really just try to figure out why, and then use that as leverage and be the solution, and just use your ears, like, because there's not one thing you can say that'll get someone to list with you. It's like what they need to hear is what you have to say, and you have to listen the whole time.
Yeah.
So like the one I did get, I said that, and they were like, well, and that they thought about it for too long, which told me that they would consider it. And when I got that, I was like, okay, I'm not getting off this phone until we set an appointment. And a lot of times, my biggest thing is I'll say, hey, I know you probably don't want to pay the commission, But look, I can probably net you more money if you use me, and I just at least want to get in front of you and show you what I have to offer because you have no idea. I want to get to know you and I want to help you. And I just want you to be able to compare apples to apples from selling yourself versus with an agent. I'm not asking you to list with me. I just want to show you what I have to offer, and I believe if it's good enough, then you will want me. And I kind of say it like that and just shut up and listen to what they have to say.
Do you have do you have these owners that just say to you that I want to just save money on the commission and I don't need somebody? Like in my market, they put up their own poster boards, their own balloons, and their own homes. Do you have that there in your market? I'm assuming yes.
Oh yeah, we get those guys all the time. Those people who just say that. I mean, half of them are just. It doesn't matter what you say; they're not gonna want to do anything with you. And you got to kind of read that and like understand that, and just kind of move on to the next one. But the ones that you think, you just ask them why. Figure out why they think they can do it themselves, and then kind of figure that out. A lot of people are just like, "Oh, I can do it," and then they just don't know what we do. They don't know how in depth we go. They don't know how, how we really market this thing all the time. Instead
So
of
do
them,
you have like some special technique that you use or you share for prospecting, or do you say something special to them that catches their attention that
hmm
perhaps you can share with our real estate agents out there?
yeah. So I mean, number one, I'm part of the group that I'm in. I use that a lot as leverage right now until I build up the credibility for myself as an agent. Because it's my first year. I don't have you know, all the credentials that like you probably have. I just have the team. So I'll say, look, I know that, if they had a bad experience or like they don't want to pay the commission, I know that's a concern. You address it. You say, I understand if I was in your shoes, but look, I have seven other people who are also going to market this thing all the time. And I'm not a single agent. I'm part of this group. And that kind of just throws some facts like, we've been around for this long. We have a giant social media presence, all of us, and and I just kind of go into some tactics, which would be just like simple things of like we take professional pictures. Like a lot of times, calling for sale by owner, you don't have professional pictures, and I kind of address like how important that is, because when someone's looking at it and there's professional pictures, they automatically want to see it, even if it's a bad house. The pictures make it look good, and I just kind of
Yeah.
educate them on all the things that go into it and like
Yeah, I'm
how,
sick and tired of seeing cell phone pictures
yeah,
that other people take, even the for sale by owners, even expired listings, and then the best part is you go to you scroll through those pictures, and then you see the bathroom and you see the toilet seat up.
yeah,
I'm so sick and tired of seeing the toilet seat up on
yeah,
all of these pictures. So I want to
seriously.
professional realtor out there who managed to get a professional photographer. Thank you. Kudos to you.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've seen listings with none of those professional pictures, cell phone photos, like you just said, and they don't get shown. I mean, they just don't. Like, because it'll go on Zillow or whatever, and that's where a lot of people start to search. And if you have those professional photos on that, I mean, people are gonna start sending that to their friends and stuff like that, and it just sets off a ripple if you have a really good photos. And that's just
Now I
one
know
thing.
you're in Dallas, right? You're Dallas, Texas, and you
hmm
cover that area. But sometimes your techniques will be different from my techniques. But in general, what would you say to someone, let's say here in New York, that could take something of your technique there and apply it here? Some of the naysayers in our industry that will say, "Well, that will never work here in New York. It works only in Dallas." Do you agree with that statement, or is
Uh,
real estate in general one script that we all use that works for us?
Yeah, so I can't really answer that fully because I've never been over there in the real estate industry, so I have no idea what it's like. But I could say that, we're all humans. We all kind of think alike when it comes to, selling something huge like this. And I think we all have similar insecurities with it when choosing an agent. I'm sure that you can agree with that. But like the photo stuff and like some of the techniques, I honestly do think that there is difference from New York to Texas because it's just cultural differences and stuff like that. And there may be something that really works over there that may not work here, or there could be something I'm doing here that could work there if y'all would just apply it that no one knows because we're so far apart. But in general, I think it's pretty straightforward with the techniques, in my opinion. Um, with just kind of just it's a numbers game, stay positive, and just kind of leverage what you have, leverage all the good stuff, and I think that you can convince anyone.
You have a business plan? You want to share some of your business plan?
Oh yeah,
Your
definitely.
business plan?
Okay, so for me, it's my first year. So I was told, okay, this is your first year, Jacob. All you need to do is keep it simple and do nothing but money generating tactics. So don't worry too much about your social media. Don't worry too much about all the other events you go to, stuff like that. And I just all day in the morning, like first half of the day, I'm cold calling no matter what. I make that a priority. If someone wants to schedule an appointment during that time and they're like, no, I can only do it at that time, well, you shouldn't be working with them in general because they don't respect your time um, and stuff like that. So I do the first half calling for sell by owners and the second half appointments. If I don't have appointments, I would keep calling for sell by owners until I had appointments. And I just keep it simple. Don't worry about all the other stuff because a lot of people, like me, especially at the beginning, I would just think about everything you could think about. Like, oh, what happens if this? What happens if that? This? And I was playing the what if game all the time. And like, I was just trying to learn everything all at once. But really, you don't need to be worrying about that stuff. You don't have any clients, you don't have any appointments. So just take it one step at a time. Keep it simple. Don't worry about all the other stuff. But now I kind of have it planned out. Once I started getting some listings and stuff like that, there's more work involved now. And then I also need to use social media to leverage those listings. And so at night, like after I get home, is when I do all like the back end stuff that I don't need to be calling people for. So I plan my social media for the next day. Like I send all the emails I need to send, like all that stuff that you can do when no one's really necessarily like awake and like in business hours. Push it at the end. All the stuff that like you need to call people for. Push it after you're done cold calling from like for me it's noon. I get done cold calling at noon from noon to like 5 is your window of calling everyone you need to call, following up. I follow up in the morning too, but like following up with like apartments. I'm doing some leases, and like following up with everyone and just calling everyone you need and doing appointments. And so just keeping it simple, like I said.
Well, it
But for
sounds
you,
like
it's
you're
probably different.
really, really working harder toward getting some lead generation there. And what happens to somebody who works part time in the business, like about
Mm,
20 to 25 hours a week? What would
yes.
be your best advice there?
Yeah, no, I get it. So I really I have a hard time understanding those kinds of questions when I'm never in those situations because you never know what it's like until you're there. But I mean, what I would think you would do is like, okay, depending on your job, you may be able to check your phone every now and then or whatever. And if you can't, well, that really sucks. But if you could, then you could use like social media as your leverage. But if you had like a job as like maybe a teacher or something where you get to really socialize with a lot of people, use that as your lead generation. You have all these people at work, like around Christmas time, maybe make some baskets of like just goodies, put your business card in there, and like, you know, have make it get really creative. I think that would be very important. Is to like that is your ground because I know a teacher and she is a part-time real estate agent, but she makes probably one closing every month.
Really?
Yeah,
What do
just
you
from
think
her
is the secret
schools.
to
Say that again.
What do you think is the secret to her success?
Talking to everyone in that entire school building and asking for referrals and not even just her school but like going to like all the school district events and stuff like that and just really being involved in like her industry and that's her niche, that's her lead generation. And then it works out for her because it's not only like she's not getting all these leads outside of her like industry, so all these other teachers know her schedule, so there's no schedule conflict of oh she has she's working part time, it's like all lines up, and she has her own niche. So I think it would just kind of depend on what job you have and what hours you have to work.
Right, right. Well, what advice would you give your colleagues in the business who are hesitant in using these types of methods?
Who are hesitant. I mean, if you're hesitant, you don't trust it. But how can you trust, like, not trust something that you haven't tried before? You know, sometimes you just gotta jump out into the water. But if you can see, like, obviously this stuff works, so stop being hesitant and do it. You should trust it. You kind of have to, like, this whole industry is just, I feel like it's almost spiritual. Like, you really have to trust it and just go for it and just believe in yourself and believe in the tactics. Otherwise, it's like you're never going to get anywhere to begin with. So that's the first barrier you have to cross to reach any sort of success in this industry, would be to just stop overthinking it and just do it. And what you say is different from what you do. So just
You know, a lot
do.
of people overthink things
Yeah.
in this business, and they are always afraid that the rejection. That's probably the number one source of why people don't circle prospect and talk to people, is because they're afraid or fear rejection. And I always say that if you talk to somebody like we're having a conversation right now, why would you be afraid to talk to your best friend? Yeah, why would you be afraid to talk to a stranger about what is it they need? You know, they need us. They need someone to negotiate the highest and best price for them. They need someone to act as an intermediary. And you know, you certainly took your best foot and put it forward. And talk about these two listings you got. Let's.
Yeah.
I know you're blushing from cheek to cheek right now because you were boasting about it, and I can't believe you got two in 1 week. That's awesome. Is there some sort of secret sauce you used?
I already told you everything I know, but I just called for sale by owner, set an appointment, and this is the biggest thing that I feel like a lot of new people don't have, is like the mentality that I had when I walked through the door. I was super nervous, you know, didn't really. That's normal, you know. It's okay to be nervous and know that, but my mentality was like, I'm not leaving this house until they kick me out or I have paper signed. Like that's it. Like
Oh,
I'm all in, and so I was like just can't, and coming from the heart really is how you should negotiate. I really do believe that. Like make sure it's a win-win. Like and tell them like, hey, look, you know, I know this is business, but I want to help you, and I know you want to help me, and kind of doing it like that, and then it is really working into a mutual agreement and just kind of figuring that out. But obviously, you being the leader, because that sets the rhythm for the entire transaction, and stuff like that. But the second listing actually came from the first one listing came from that for sale by owner. The second one is actually his cousin, which is on the same street.
wow,
He got us a
wow.
referral. At 2 days after I listed his house, he called me. I was like, "Hey, Jacob,
Referral.
my cousin wants to list his house with you." I was like, "Okay." Went over there and had the same mentality. Got the listing, and so now I have
So
two on the same
obviously, his
street.
testimonial to his cousin landed you a second listing, and that's awesome. That really is
Yeah,
awesome. I work off of a lot of referrals myself, and I have to tell you that that is a great feeling when somebody else can
yeah.
uh, shed light on your talent as well. And tell me, what is your plan going forward? I mean, you have these two listings now. I know you're going to be busy doing open houses, marketing them. But what is your plan with going forward with other inventory? How many? What's your goal? What's your goal going to be?
Gotcha. My goal is to, um, well, for the next year, my goal is to, at the end of 2020, is to make as close to $100,000 gross commission for
And what
me.
does that equate to, and how many listings?
I mean, I really am not too focused on like how many listings as much as I can possibly get. I mean, whatever it is. I'm more like honestly, I'm more money focused than I am listing and that like because they're really proportionate and I can kind of measure that with that. But my goal is to at least minimum bare minimum get one listing a month, bare minimum, um, and then try to close like 2 to 3 deals a month. Um, you know, I'm working with a lot of buyers and stuff too, so that kind of brings that.
Do you listen to motivational speakers?
Yeah.
What's your favorite motivational speaker? For real
Um,
estate?
Brian Buffini.
Brian Buffini. Excellent.
Yeah, I listen to him every morning on the way to the office.
That's cool. That's cool. So, do you, as a younger real estate agent in the business, just starting out, do you do like, do you begin your mornings with mornings of gratitude and read good books?
Yeah, so my morning routine is the most important. Um, I wake up at like 4:45 and I go to the gym
Right.
at 5 to like 6:30 and I work out really hard. And then I come back and I get ready as quick as I can and then I sit down and I read a book for I read 10 pages a day. Um, and for a lot of people it's not a lot, but it's a lot for me because I hate reading. But I read like improvement books and like stuff like that. Like I wouldn't read just to read, honestly. But and then after that, I pray for a little bit, and then after that, I'm off to the office, and I'm in like, I feel like I can completely rule the world. Like
That's
I feel
awesome.
great.
That's a great attitude because, like, I teach in my classrooms that some people begin their day by listening to negative, and they put on the news and
Mm.
say that we live in a perfect world. Negative, instead of saying
Yeah,
partly sunny, he'll say partly cloudy, or and
yeah.
out of his mouth is negative, And but I ran into a lot of agents this year that I've come across a lot of agents this year that begin their day with gratitude and prayer, and that's very refreshing to hear from a younger salesperson in our business that um, you start your day off very spiritually and very grateful for what you have, and that's
Hmm.
awesome. And I think that comes across to the consumer that you're genuine. And you used the word tactic before. There is no tactic or trick, but there is a professionalism that comes across, and that's one of the things that I noticed about you in the very beginning, before I even before we even spoke, is that you came across very professional in your attitude on social media. And when I was listening to you.
Yeah, definitely. And that is something that like I kind of want to point that out for my generation of people. It's like a lot of times the first thing that they look at is like social media or their phone. And so I've literally set my phone up to where it locks all of that down until 7 a.m., which is after I hit the gym already. And just because sometimes I do post stuff in the morning, but I try, and my goal every day is to not touch social media or anything like that, not even any text messages, even if they're work related, until after I had read and prayed in the morning and done all of that. Because when you kind of unlock your physical state when you work out, and that does something to you that I can't even explain. Like your energy levels go up, your positivity goes up, your just love, and then like being in that state of mind that like almost like technology doesn't exist, and you're just like in gear with the world, and then going back home and then reading. The reading part really activates the part of your brain of focus, and it really locks you down to be able to focus on one task at a time as you go through the rest of your day, and it sets the rhythm. And after you get all that done, then you can look at your phone. But at that point, you don't even really like. Honestly, me, I don't even want to look at my phone anymore. I'm like, I'm so like, I feel so great. Like, I don't even want to walk into the world of negativity because that's what we're walking into almost every day. And us, we have to be leaders of positivity, and we attract those that we put out. And
Right.
you're gonna attract positive buyers, positive listings, and people who are negative. If you're cold calling them and they're super negative, I mean, really, the only way to come out and get the listing is if you come off negative. And I'm not gonna be someone I'm not. So really, you're attracting people who are also positive. So works
It's
out.
awesome. It's totally awesome. Hearing you, it sounds like I'm hearing Ricky Caruth all over again. Ricky, YouTube sensation for those of you who don't know, and he's a number one agent in all of Alabama, Orange Beach, Alabama. And Jacob and I know Ricky Caruth, and he kills it every year with 100 listings, makes over $1 million a year in sales, and he's one of our models, right, Jacob?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know him personally. I just met him at that one event. Took a little picture with him. He probably has no idea who I am, but he'll reply to my DM. But I mean, I know Chasten, but yeah, I really liked his segment of that event. Like he really impacted me a lot too. Him and Danny Morel. I don't know if you know who Danny Morel is, but
Yes.
he's amazing. He got me the most on that event. Like I was just sitting there and I was just like, oh my gosh, I know what I need to do. And then Ricky Cruz kind of was more comforting of like, you need to stay from the heart rather than transaction, and just be really just out for the best of people. And that's kind of where I got that. And so like going to that event is like everyone had their own different take on the business, and you got to kind of pick and choose all the best from everything. And I kind of put it together to be me. So
So Jacob, if you're in town and on Long Island, January 29th, we'll be having Sonona Speak Seminars presents Ricky Carruth and 10 top listing pros roundtable speakers. They'll be coming to Long Island on January 29th. We'll be having our listing seminar there, and we will be hosting Ricky Carruth there. So I hope that you'll be making it. Thank you, Jacob. I don't know where you went, but I'll speak to you all soon. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good day, everyone. And thank you, Jacob Maldonado, for coming on with me. All right. Have a good day, everyone. See you next time on Coffee Talk, the Listing Pros with Sonona Speak Seminars.